Welcome to the Beyond Bloated Podcast. I'm Carly, a certified health coach helping women ditch their bloat without having to follow super strict and stressful protocols. As someone who's struggled with all sorts of digestive issues for over 5 years, I know exactly how you're feeling. I also know that there's a way to feel better, and it doesn't have to involve tons of expensive supplements and insanely restrictive diets. Join me as I share all of my bloat-busting wisdom to help you say goodbye to that bloated belly and regain your confidence. It's time for you to move beyond bloated. I attended the Light and Energy Wellness event back in July, which was my first in-person event. I had a booth, I did a giveaway for my Bloat Be Gone Kickstart bundle, and I got to talk to different women about bloating and gut health in general. One of the star components of my booth was my myth or fact board. I had typed up a bunch of common gut health statements and slapped them on this board so people visiting my booth would get to play the game where they guess if the statement is a gut health myth or if it's a fact. Once they made their guess, they flipped the card open to read a small blurb I wrote about whether the statement is a myth or a fact and why. Since the majority of you listening don't live on Vancouver Island, you didn't get to play my fun game. So I'm bringing it to the podcast today. If you would like to come hang out and play Myth or Fact with me in person, I'll be attending the Mind, Body, Spirit Expo on Sunday, September 15th in Langford, BC. So it would be awesome if you're in the area and you want to come by and hang out, play my game, and I will be doing another giveaway for the Bloat Be Gone Kickstart bundle. So that's another reason to stop by. For the rest of you, let's play virtual Myth or Fact right now. The rules are very simple. I will read a common gut health statement out and then give you a second or two to decide if you think it's a myth or if it's a fact. Then I'll reveal the answer and give a mini explanation as to why this is a myth or a fact. And that's that. Super simple. I'm going to start with a relatively easy one, especially if you've been listening to this podcast at all. Statement number one is stress can negatively affect your gut health. Is that a myth or a fact? Of course, that is a fact, a huge fact. Stress can impact your gut by altering gut motility and increasing inflammation, which can lead to digestive issues such as bloating. I have talked so much about how stress can negatively impact the gut on this podcast. This is a big hell yeah. Make sure you're managing your stress, and that's going to help eliminate your bloating. Statement number two, carbonated drinks can cause bloating. Myth or fact? I've talked about this one before as well, so if you want to check out my episode on the habits that can cause bloating, I'll link that for you. But drinking carbonated drinks is one of the habits that can cause bloating. So this is, in fact, a fact. The carbonation in these drinks can introduce gas into your digestive system, leading to bloating. Statement number three, beans always cause bloating and should be avoided. Myth or fact? We've got our first myth. While beans can cause gas for some people, they are also a great source of fiber and protein, especially if you are a vegetarian or a vegan. Proper preparation, like soaking the beans, can reduce their gas-producing effects. And this applies to things like chickpeas as well. Any of those beans or legumes that come in a can, when you take them out of the can, give them a really good rinse in the sink, in a strainer or whatever. And that's going to prevent a lot of the bloating and the gas because the majority of that comes from the liquid and not the beans or the chickpeas themselves. Statement number four, probiotic supplements are necessary for everyone. Myth or fact? And this one's a little tricky, but this is actually a myth. Probiotics can definitely benefit a lot of people, but not everybody needs a probiotic supplement. A diet rich in fermented foods like kefir or sauerkraut may be sufficient for maintaining gut health for a lot of people. So before you reach for that expensive probiotic supplement, try adding things like sauerkraut and kefir, probiotic yogurt without all the sugar in it, to your diet because those all have probiotics in them and it's so much cheaper than going and buying a super expensive probiotic supplement. Statement number 5. All bloating is caused by food intolerances. Myth or fact? Now, we should know that this is a myth. Bloating can be caused by a variety of factors, including overeating, stress, and digestive disorders, not just food intolerances. I've also mentioned before how food intolerances are actually a symptom of something else that's going on inside your gut. If you have developed food intolerances or sensitivities, and you've also developed bloating and gas and bowel irregularities, these are all symptoms and not root causes themselves. So moral of the story is no, you are not bloated because you have food sensitivities. You may have food sensitivities and eating foods may cause you to bloat, but something also caused you to have food sensitivities. So that is not the root cause of your bloating, and that is definitely not the only thing that can cause bloating. Statement number 6 is a juicy one. The low FODMAP diet is a long-term solution for digestive issues. Myth or fact? Now, you know that I am not a fan of super restrictive diets, especially long-term. So, of course, this is going to be a myth. The low FODMAP diet is meant to be a short-term elimination diet to identify specific food triggers. It is not intended for long-term use, as it can limit essential nutrients if followed indefinitely. I don't recommend the low FODMAP diet unless you have very severe symptoms that are impacting your life, so you temporarily do low FODMAP to figure out your triggers. It is extremely rare that you are going to have a reaction to every single high FODMAP food. Maybe at this moment, you do react to cauliflower, or you do react to bananas. That's fine. You can remove those while you work on improving your gut health, reversing those symptoms, and then you can reintroduce those foods. But you do not need to eliminate this massive list of foods simply because they are labeled high FODMAP. The majority of high FODMAP foods are very nutritious for us. They contain a lot of nutrients, they contain a lot of fiber, things that our good gut bacteria love, and these foods are going to feed those good gut bugs, make our microbiomes more diverse. So if we're cutting out all these foods, we're killing off the good gut bacteria in our microbiome, and we're limiting diversity, which is going to impact our gut health negatively and cause symptoms like bloating and gas and all those nasty symptoms we don't want. Statement number 6 is another one that you should know if you've been listening. Eating too quickly can cause bloating. Myth or fact? Fact, obviously. Eating quickly can lead to swallowing air and poor digestion, both of which can cause bloating. I've talked about this in most of my episodes, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Don't eat super fast. Chew your food. Don't eat with distractions. Just don't do it. Statement number 8. High fiber diets are always good for digestion. Myth or fact? This is actually a myth. While fiber is important for digestion, of course, too much fiber or suddenly increasing your fiber by a ton can cause bloating and discomfort for some people. So if you're someone who doesn't really eat a lot of fiber and then you start reading about how fiber is important for your gut, because it is, so then you just start devouring all these high fiber food and you go from like 2 grams of fiber a day to 40, that's gonna probably cause you some digestive discomfort. So if you want to increase your fiber intake, do it gradually. Go from 2 grams to 5 grams a day, and then maybe go to 7 and see what you can tolerate, but don't speedrun it. It's going to make you uncomfortable. Statement number 9. Drinking apple cider vinegar before meals can help with digestion. Is this a myth or a fact? Fact. Apple cider vinegar can stimulate digestive enzymes and improve stomach acid production, aiding digestion for some people. It can also help you balance your blood sugar levels, which is another sweet benefit. Make sure you are diluting the apple cider vinegar in some water Do not just straight chug apple cider vinegar from the bottle. That will not be good for you. Make sure you put about a teaspoon or 2 in a glass. I usually do a shot glass, so I'll put like a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in a shot glass, fill the rest with water, and drink that. Make sure it's diluted always. Statement number 10. Yogurt is always good for digestion. Myth or fact? I feel like these statements with the always in them are pretty much always a myth because Hey everyone, Carly here. If you are tired of feeling bloated and uncomfortable, which I know you are, I have something that can really help. My free ultimate guide to bloat busting. I've been there myself, and I know how frustrating it is to try super restrictive diets and expensive supplements without getting results. If those methods were going to work, they would have worked by now. That's why I created this guide to offer you a different approach. In the ultimate guide to bloat busting, you'll learn techniques to listen to your body and eat with intention, avoiding overeating and choosing foods that truly benefit you, tips for proper hydration to support digestion and reduce bloating, a guide to delicious foods that promote a healthy gut and how to easily incorporate them into your meals, and effective methods to manage stress, which plays a huge role in gut health. These simple, practical strategies can make a big difference in your daily life, helping you feel lighter, more energized, and comfortable in your own skin. Ready to ditch the bloat without strict diets or costly supplements? Download your free copy today at beyondbloated.com/ultimate-guide and start your journey to a bloat-free life. Now, let's get back to it. It's not going to be the same for everybody. And in this scenario, not all yogurts are created equal. While many yogurts contain probiotics, some can also have a lot of added sugar and artificial ingredients that are not beneficial for gut health. So even if you're eating a probiotic yogurt, but it's got natural flavors and 12 grams of added sugar per serving, that's doing your gut more harm than good. I always like to stick to unflavored yogurt, and then I add my own toppings. So I'll add berries or honey or my protein powder, things like that. It's best to get unflavored because the flavored has lots of sugar and artificial ingredients that we don't need. And you can just flavor it yourself however you like. It's very simple. Statement 11. Artificial sweeteners can cause bloating and digestive issues. Myth or fact? I've talked about this one before. If you check out episode 17, I discussed 5 common ingredients to watch out for because they are common bloating triggers. And yes, this is a fact. Artificial sweeteners was on that list. Many artificial sweeteners, like sorbitol and xylitol, can cause bloating and gas because they are not fully absorbed in the digestive system. That is one reason. If you want to check out episode 17, I talked in more detail about artificial sweeteners and 4 other common ingredients that you might want to watch out for if you tend to bloat frequently and you're not sure why. Moving on to statement 12. Peppermint tea can help reduce bloating. Myth or fact? Now, peppermint tea is one of my favorite teas. I actually don't really like tea. I drink it for its health benefits. That's how I started drinking tea. But I love mint. I love mint chocolate. Mint chip ice cream is my favorite flavor. So peppermint tea is my favorite. And because this is a fact, it's also my favorite because of its bloat relieving properties. Peppermint tea has antispasmodic properties that can relax the digestive tract and help relieve bloating. I like drinking it after dinner. That's my go-to nighttime beverage. So give it a try. After dinner, make yourself a nice cup of peppermint tea and see how that feels on your tummy. Statement 13. Gluten is bad for everyone and should be avoided. Is this a myth or is this a fact? Actually kind of funny that this is statement 13. Didn't plan that, but episode 13, I talked about gluten. The whole episode is about gluten. It's titled, Is Gluten the Culprit? Understanding its impact on your health. and I discussed all of the possible side effects of gluten, reasons why we should or should not eat it. So if you have been considering a gluten-free diet and you're not sure if it's right for you, you want to learn more, check out episode 13 and you'll get a lot of information on gluten. This statement is, in fact, a myth. Gluten is harmful to those with celiac disease or a gluten intolerance or sensitivity, but most people can digest high-quality gluten without any issue. And there is a big difference between going to the store and buying white bread and buying an organic sourdough. If you want to learn more, check out episode 13. The entire episode is about understanding the impact gluten may have on your health. Statement number 14. You should avoid all carbs to reduce bloating. Myth or fact? Now, this should be an obvious myth, but I do see a lot of people restricting carbs, still thinking that carbs are the enemy, and they're definitely not. Not all carbs cause bloating. Whole grains, fruits, and vegetables are all carbs, and they provide essential nutrients and fiber that support gut health. We literally need to eat these things. Please do not eliminate carbs from your diet. We need carbs to function. They're not the bad guy, I promise. Statement 15 made somebody sad when I was at the in-person event with my booth. Chewing gum can lead to bloating. Myth or fact? I kind of gave it away. This is a fact. Chewing gum can cause you to swallow air, which may lead to bloating and gas. And actually, similarly, drinking through a straw can do the same because you end up sucking up a bunch of air through that straw that can get trapped in your GI tract and cause gas and bloating. So chewing gum, drinking through a straw, eating too fast, these are all ways that we can accidentally swallow too much air and cause excessive gas and unwanted bloating. Statement 16. You should avoid eating fruit after meals to prevent bloating. This is something that I have seen randomly on social media and things like that fruit is bad and we should not eat fruit because it's sugary and it's carbs and it causes bloating and all this and that. This is a myth, my friends. Eating fruit after meals does not inherently cause bloating. It can actually be a part of a balanced diet and is usually well tolerated. As I said, fruit is a healthy carb and we need carbs. So if you're going to be eating carbs, things like fruits and vegetables and whole grains are the types of carbs that we want to be eating. And actually eating fruit after a meal is arguably the best time to eat fruit because yes, fruit does have some sugar in it, which isn't a big deal because the fruit itself is fiber. So you're eating the sugar with the fiber, and that's not going to give you this massive blood sugar spike like a lot of people are afraid of, at least in most people. But if you eat a meal that's like high in protein, healthy fats, it's got carbs, a well-balanced meal, and then you eat the fruit, the carb, the sugary, whatever. It's not really sugary, but you know what I mean. The naturally sugary dessert. That's going to give you the lowest blood sugar spike. The order that we eat our food is important. So if you are going to eat fruit and you do feel like maybe you get a spike from it or you get bloated, try eating it after meals. I would argue that's one of the best times to eat it if you notice you have some sort of reaction when eating fruit. Got two more for you. Statement 17. You need to detox regularly to keep your gut healthy. Myth or fact? I feel like detoxes are a hot topic in the wellness world. I feel like they're not so much as popular now as they were once upon a time. They kind of actually have a bad rap now, but either way, this is a myth. Your body naturally detoxifies itself. A healthy diet and regular exercise are more effective for maintaining gut health than doing random detox diets or taking random detox products once in a blue moon. If you're just living a not so great lifestyle and then doing a detox once every quarter, thinking that's good enough, that is not the right mentality. You should be living day to day a healthy lifestyle, and then you likely don't need any sort of detox because you're just maintaining a healthy gut the whole time. Last one, statement 18, you should avoid eating late at night to prevent bloating. Myth or fact? This is a fact. Eating late at night can lead to indigestion and bloating because your digestive system slows down while you sleep. In my bloat-free day checklist, which is a free resource that you can grab off my website, beyondbloated.com/checklist, it's filled with a bunch of different healthy, gut-friendly habits that if you implement, you will significantly improve your symptoms like bloating, gas, bowel irregularities, all the GI symptoms that you may be experiencing. And on that list, one of the habits I recommend is not eating after dinner, because we need about 3 hours between when we last ate and when we go to bed so that our food is fully digested and isn't just sitting in our gut like a lump while we lay down and sleep. That being said, I don't want anyone starving themselves or going hungry. Like, if you do get hungry at some point after dinner and you're legitimately hungry and it's not you're bored or you're just used to having like chips while you watch Netflix at night, don't go hungry. There are snacks that I would recommend you can eat a little bit before bed because they're not very heavy, they're not going to sit in your gut like a lump, and they're not going to cause a blood sugar spike that's going to disrupt your sleep. So something like a handful of almonds or a scoop of nut butter, hard-boiled egg. Things like that are high in protein, they've got some healthy fats, they're going to help prevent a blood sugar spike, and they're not very heavy meals. You're not scarfing down a bag of chips and then laying down for bed for the next 7 hours. So there you have it. Those are 18 different gut health statements that I think are very common. And some of them were myths, some of them were facts. Let me know which one shocked you. Send me a text using the send me a text link in the show notes, and let me know either the statement or the number. Which one shocked you the most, if any? Maybe they all shocked you. Maybe you're brilliant and you've been listening to my podcast, so you know a lot about gut health and you know the answer to all of them. If so, good job. I'm so proud of you. Let me know. Let me know how you did, your score if you were keeping track. I just want to know what you thought of this episode. If you liked it, I'll do something like this again. So text me. It's anonymous. I won't know who sent it. If you want me to know it was you, reach out to me on Instagram at beyond.bloated or send me an email, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com. I think it's important to cover these things because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and statements like these confuse people because they start to see it online and they start to believe that it's true when it is in fact not true. And that can be very misleading and harmful. We've all been down the rabbit hole, and when we're trying to figure out what's causing our bloat or other symptoms, and you get a whole mismatch of information. It's like so difficult to understand what is true, what is false. And honestly, a lot of the time it's situational. Not everybody has your body. Nobody has your body. Your body is yours. Your digestive system is unique to you. Your likes and dislikes, your food sensitivities, everything about you is specific to you. So what worked for someone else is not necessarily going to work for you, which is why we can stick to what's true and what's false just in general. But when we start diving into like, what did this person do to fix their gut? It's not black and white like that. Getting one-on-one support is the best way to deal with your gut issues if you've been struggling for a long time. If you work with somebody like myself, who's going to take the time to get to know you and have you fill out some sort of intake form to get a feel for your current diet and lifestyle and daily habits, activities, your work schedule, everything about you. What are your symptoms that you are specifically experiencing? What's triggering those symptoms? Like, we really dive into you, what's happening with you, and then we can make a plan tailored to your life something that's going to fit into your schedule without having to uproot everything and change your job and get a new family. So I recommend, of course, working with somebody, because that truly is the fastest and most targeted approach to dealing with your gut issues. So if you would like help from someone like myself, I do take one-on-one clients. I am currently accepting new ones now. So check out my program, Beyond the Bloating. You can find it at my website, beyondbloated.com/beyond-the-bloating. I'll link it in the show notes for you as well. All the information is there. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to me and I will get back to you. Other than that, I hope you learned something today. Maybe a myth was busted for you, and that's why we're here. We're here to learn and to grow, and I can't wait to help you do all of those things moving forward. Talk to you next week. Thank you for listening to the Beyond Bloated podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review. And don't forget to share this podcast with your fellow gut goddesses. If you'd like to chat about today's episode, send me a DM on Instagram at beyond.bloated. Until next time, bye!